Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Foundryside live show. I am joined by Sophia from Sophia's Thoughts. I have her channel linked down in the description, so you can go check her out. But we are going to be chatting about Foundryside, which I feel like I just have to show this cover because it's so
So
pretty.
nice. This is one of those situations where the US cover is better than the UK cover.
I know. It doesn't happen very often, but this
No.
series definitely wins.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Gorgeous. I got this hardcover so long ago. I've had it forever. And apparently now the hardcover of the first book is very difficult to find, which is rare in the US. I know in the
Oh,
UK
really?
it happens all the time, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not unusual for here. Like
Mhm.
once the year is over, once the paperback is out, they stop printing the
Right.
hardcovers, so you basically can't get them.
Yeah, and usually that's not a problem in the US. You can still like Amazon it, right? Like they're almost always on Amazon, but this one apparently not. It's very difficult to find, and I'm so glad I already have it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because that first one came out quite a few years ago now.
yeah, it came out a while ago, but oh no, I'm pretty I I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really like it. I really like it.
It's so good. So we'll just do a little bit of non-spoilers at the beginning, not too much, because I feel like when you do these live shows, like people know there's going to be spoilers. So we can chat a little non-spoilery just at the beginning, and
Hmm.
very quickly we're going to jump into spoilers. So Um, I just kind of wanted to chat about the beginning. So this is like happens at the very beginning, so I feel like it's not spoilers, but I know that there are a lot of books out there that are focused on heists. Like this is not unique to Foundryside whatsoever. So I wanted to kind of chat about how you feel like this heist was done, was written, like comparable to other books, just because I feel like it is such a common theme in fantasy books.
I think for me, it is common theme, definitely for sure. But I feel like this book does it differently because it's not just one heist.
Mhm.
Whereas in most books, you've kind of got like one end goal, and the whole book is kind of leading up to that one thing, and then you get to that one thing. Mistborn being a perfect example of
Yeah,
just that, right?
or like
Whereas
Six of
with this
Crows,
book,
yeah.
yeah. Whereas with this book, it's like we start off like literally chapter one, we are
Yeah.
in a heist, and then there are more throughout the rest of the book. And I don't think I've read any other books that do it that way. Not that I
Mhm.
can think of.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I was gonna say that it is very unusual in the fact that we start in the heist, because
Hmm.
most don't. Like, most of the time, you start with, like, getting the crew together and then making the plans and stuff, which yes, that's the way it usually goes. That's a natural
Hmm.
progression, but in this one, like, you start off right in the middle of the action, in the heist, like, she's going, right? And
Hmm.
so I agree. I think that it's very unique that one of the biggest heists of the entire book is right at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then you get more throughout the book. So
Yeah.
I really liked how it was done as well. I really enjoyed the use of their magic system in this heist, because I
Hmm.
feel like in some other ones, the heist doesn't always have as much to do with the magic as like the rest of the book.
Yeah.
And this one definitely does. Like you're using
Hmm.
that magic to perform this heist. And I like how that was incorporated into this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely always been one of my favorite magic systems that I've ever read.
Mhm.
And you're not just dropped into the action in chapter one, but you're also dropped into the magic, dropped into the character, and it's just kind of like, here we go. Uh, and you're like, okay, hang on a sec, what's happening? But I really enjoy the way that the magic system is so ingrained in the world and the lifestyle of all of the characters that it's always there from page one. It's magic, you know about it, everybody knows about it, everybody can use it if they want to. And I again, that's something that's really, really different. Usually in fantasy books, it's a select few can use the magic, and you
Yeah.
don't find out about it until later, and you don't learn how it works until later. But Jackson Bennett is just like, no, no, there's magic. Here it is. I'll explain it later, kind of, maybe a little bit, but
You get tidbits
you're
here
just
and
gonna have
there.
to sit with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, I agree. The magic system isn't something you're born with or something that just only the elites have, which, like, technically they have more access, like, that's true.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
But it is, like, it's literally everywhere. They build their society using the magic, and without it, things crumble, literally.
hmm
So, no,
yeah,
I love that.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's, it's accessible to everybody, but more accessible to the upper classes, which is a whole conversation on elitism that is just so relatable as well. That, it's these little things. There's a lot of politics that happens in this book that it makes it all really realistic. I feel like, even though, I mean, sadly, we
Right.
cannot scribe things, so
That
it's
was
not realistic, but it feels realistic.
yeah, exactly. No, I think so too. And I mean, dang, sorry, I got distracted. My neighbor apparently is over here, like, cleaning their window screens, and so I got distracted. They're, like, beating them out the window. I got a little bit distracted. Oh, and now they're, like,
Timing.
cleaning the bricks on the outside of their window.
I mean, it's
I'm
better than
sorry.
when Abby and I got back from holiday, she went home and she went into her apartment, and somebody in one of the apartments opposite was outside on their balcony completely stark naked.
Awkward.
And she was like, that was not what I was expecting to see when I looked out of my window today.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm all up for you do you on private property, but not, like, publicly visible private property.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. It's distracting though. I just, like, keep catching my eye. I'm like, "Y'all need to stop." Oh, it's
Oh
fine. I've
no.
got this. I don't really remember where I was. That's um, I do like that this is a system, like a magic system that is learned through, like, an actual education, like, you're going to learn and be trained in this versus, like, you have to find a wise mentor who also has the exact same magical abilities, which, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that as well. But it is the most common thing, and this is
Yeah.
like a we're educating you to do this. It's not even along the same lines of, like, a Harry Potter school. It's like
No.
we're taking the elite
hmm
and we're, like, training you on this essentially, like, magical coding programming system. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting. But it is for sure a hard magic system. Like, there
Yes.
are so many rules, and it gets. Let me tell. I've read the whole trilogy. Let me tell you, if you think it's complicated now, it gets way more complicated as the series goes on. So, I think in terms of making a complicated rule-based magic system, this does even better than any Sanderson book ever has, because there's just so much intricacy to it.
It I agree, and I think a lot of it is because of how like, the science behind it.
Yeah,
Like, you
it's very
can make
sciencey.
so many different things happen within the rules. Like, they have
hmm
these hard rules, but if you're smart enough and can twist them, you can make things happen that shouldn't technically be able to happen based on the
Yeah,
rules that you have. So,
yeah,
that's really cool.
yeah.
But
It's
I also like that
definitely
he
very
stays
sciencey.
in it. Yeah. No, I really like that he stays within his rules, though. I hate it
hmm
when authors will try to make a more hard magic system and then somehow have these weird little loophole things. I'm just like, "No, like, this doesn't fit your magic system. You're
Yeah,
doing this for convenience, and that's not okay." And I don't feel like he does this. Like,
no,
if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The rules are there, and that they are rules, and you can play around with them, but you can't break them.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, I think we're gonna go into spoilers just because it's hard for me to talk around it. So we're showing spoiler stuff. It'll make life easier for everybody. So here we go. I'm not necessarily jumping into spoilers now, we're just allowed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So our main character, what do you feel about her? Because I feel like sometimes having these girls that are not like other girls can be like they can be done well or they can be done very poorly. So I'm interested to see your thoughts on her.
I've always really liked Sanchia. I think, yeah, I mean, she's almost a stereotypical fantasy heroine in some ways. You know, she's from the slums, she's downtrodden, she's the underdog, and but you know, she's really powerful and really smart and blah blah blah. She is. But I do still really enjoy her, and I still find her character believable and relatable, even despite all of those tropes. So I think he lent into the tropes, but he did it in a way that works and didn't feel too stereotypical.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how he managed that, but that's how I
No,
feel.
I feel the same way because going in, I saw because he used those common tropes, which I mean, I like too. There's a reason they're tropes, is because they work really
Yeah,
well
yeah.
within fantasy books. But one thing that I really loved about her is, yes, she was the girl from no money, like scrounging just to survive, and had these crazy magical powers. But what I really loved that he did is she just didn't happen to have them. There was nothing really special about her. She didn't just happen to have these magical powers within her and someone discovered her. Like they literally
Hmm.
did it to her.
Hmm.
Like it
Yeah.
was actually bad luck that she ended up getting these powers.
And she
Actually,
doesn't want them.
no, she doesn't want them. They're actually quite miserable.
Hmm.
And it was one of the most traumatic experiences of her entire life that happened to lead to these powers. And it was kind of an accident. People messed up. I
Hmm.
really like that aspect because I feel like it makes her different than those, like, you just are so special. Like, you
Yeah.
just were born this way. And she's like, you know what I am? Let me learn to use my powers. She's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm doing all this to get rid of this stuff. It sucks.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like, I think that there's this one scene that almost typifies all of that, which is where basically also is explaining what the plan for the final heist is to Sanchi, and
Mhm.
she's just like, so I have to do X, Y, Z, whatever. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, okay, I'm out. See ya.
Mhm.
Bye.
Like, no,
Like,
no, no.
no, I might be a heroine, but no, I'm not down for this shit.
Right, like, my self-preservation trumps my, like, saving the world. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I love that scene.
I know, and I love, oh my gosh, what I can't I'm so bad with names. Like, I swear I read this book. The dude, Orso?
Also, yeah,
Osor.
the
I
Scriber.
love him.
Yeah, Also's
Oh
great.
my gosh, I did not think I was gonna love him as much as I
He's
did.
so funny.
He's
He's
the
so funny.
absolute best. He's just like old crotchety man.
Yeah.
Would be obsessed with power and money and stuff, and he's not. Like, he just wants scribing, like, he wants
Yeah,
amazing ideas, he wants to come up with
yeah.
new things and stuff, like, he
He just
actually
wants to
doesn't
be the
care about the
best.
prestige. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that is really cool. I actually really like that about him because going in, you wouldn't have expected it, and then
No.
he's just such a little turd, right? You're like, "Dude."
Yeah, like when he and Gregor first meet, you just think, oh God, this guy is an asshole. And then you
Yes.
get to know him and you're like, oh no, actually, he just really like is super serious about this scribing thing and he is not interested in anything else.
Yeah, it's almost like a neurodivergent obsession where
Yeah.
he doesn't function that well socially and he doesn't really like people at all, but
Yeah.
oh, he loves his scribing. I don't know. I love it
Hmm.
so much.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
love his in
Berenice?
Berenice, I love their interactions. I think
Yeah,
it's so funny.
their
I
dynamic
like
is
it.
super fun.
Yeah,
Super fun.
I think he's one
And
of the best.
we get more of them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy them too. And I think, I don't know why this comparison comes to mind, but you know, in A Christmas Carol,
Mhm.
Ebenezer Scrooge is with that woman and like things don't work out because he's just so obsessed with his job. It's kind of like the same thing between
Yeah.
Orso and Estelle. He's just like, yeah, but scribing though.
No, it's true. Oh, Estelle.
I know, right?
She is an interesting character. I actually can totally see her point too. I mean, I know
Yeah,
she's like the villain, but I
but those are
can
the best
see where
kind,
she's
right?
coming from.
Those are the
Yeah.
best kind of villains, though, is like when you kind of think, yeah, but I kind of get it though. Like, I can't disagree with you.
Right, it's like your methods I'm not quite on board with, but it's true, and I actually didn't see that coming in this book. I didn't
No,
expect it to be so, um, like, oh, like the female thing where, like, women weren't
mm,
allowed to really have
yeah,
power. They weren't really allowed to learn scribing. They were, like,
yeah,
pretty much just women to be married so you can gain power. Like, I actually didn't expect that going into this book,
no.
so,
Well, he kind of bait and crosses us with that because of
yeah.
Berenice, like right from the start. So we don't even question that, like, well, obviously this is available to everybody. And it's not until later that we start to see, oh, actually, there is some patriarchy shit happening here
Yeah, like,
that we didn't
serious
realize.
too, like,
Yeah.
it's really bad.
Which just speaks again to Orso's character because once again, he's just like, I don't care about any of that nonsense. Are you a good scriber? Can you help me with this? Okay, we're good. Let's carry
Well,
on.
the thing is, even with all of Orso's power and pull and stuff, like, yeah, he could pick whoever he wanted, and he picked a girl because she was the best and he wanted the best, but she still technically was not on the same level as him, like, she
No.
wasn't on that path to be, like,
Mm-mm.
a master scriber. She was his assistant, and that's kind of all she could do. She actually didn't go to the scribing school to become, like, her own fledged scriber, even though she
Mm.
knew enough about her that she was as good as all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, even Orso picking a woman and because she was the best and he had the power to do it, he still didn't have the power to get her into those schools and to get her
No.
into the path of a scriber, which is
True.
kind of crazy.
True. Interesting. But this is what I was saying before about there's a lot of like political and sadly relatable stuff that he puts in there to add that realism to the story
Mhm.
that you kind of think this kind of thing happens in real life. And so it makes it more relatable.
I think he did actually a lot with social issues
Hmm.
very naturally. It wasn't like he was kind of shoving it down your, you know how sometimes it's like so out there that you're like, okay, I get it. Like, it's obnoxiously
Yeah.
obvious what you're trying to do here. But he just
Yeah,
kind of
for
weaves
sure.
it in a little bit until you see these big events or big world things that happen because of
Yeah.
these elitist or patriarchal decisions that were made, and you're like, "Whew."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's good. It's a really well thought out and put together narrative just in general.
Mhm.
And as you say, it's not heavy handed. It's not, you know, tick boxy. Some books can be really tick boxy.
Yeah,
And this one doesn't feel like that at all.
yeah. And I mean, some of them I think do intention like, okay, have you ever watched Sex Education
I
on
think I've seen some episodes. I don't think I've watched
how
all of
it's
it,
just,
but yeah.
like, very glaringly in your face. They have to have, like, all the different representations, and
Mm,
it's just, like, so it's not subtle. Like,
no.
it's great, which is, like, obviously, it's doing that intentionally, but it's not, and I feel like that can a little at times be like, "Ugh." Like,
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I don't need you to treat
Yeah.
me and, like, hold my hand through it, treat me
Yeah.
like a child, tell me, "Hey, elitism is bad, patriarchy isn't a good thing." Like, I get
Yeah.
that. So I like how he did
Especially
it
in an
there.
adult book, right? Like we're
Mhm.
adult, we can figure it out for ourselves. You don't
Yeah.
need to tell it. It's that show don't tell thing.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I think he does a really good job with that, where he
Yeah.
he doesn't even make it that big of a deal until we see why it's such a big deal. Like it just kind of
Mhm.
is. And you can tell like they don't like it, but like it is. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden you're like, whew.
And it's almost like he's using the archetype of fantasy against you, because you're just kind of like, well, just a typical fantasy thing where all of the rich people have all of the power, like we were saying before. That's usually how it goes, so you don't
Mhm.
question it, you just think, oh, this is a normal fantasy thing. And then he's like, haha, you thought it was, but I was doing something different and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah, it's true. Because honestly, I did expect her to not be a good person. When she's like, "I'll get you my father's blood." I'm like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
no. Mm-mm, mm-mm." I was like, "Don't take it. Don't do it."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like as soon
Like,
as she
why
agreed to
are
help
you
him, I'm like,
being nice? I don't trust it.
it's true. I think that's why I was like, she's helping them. I don't trust her at all.
No,
And so at
exactly.
that point, I was like, I have my suspicions, but yeah.
What do you think of the mountain as like as a character?
I loved the mountain.
Mhm.
I think the mountain is such a cool character, particularly because like he's an AI one, but he just like cares weirdly about like the people within him.
Mhm.
And like I feel like he just loves Sanchia. Like he just like adopts her as his little girl and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'll protect you." I'm like, "Oh, you're
He's
so
like a
cute."
cute dog.
Yes.
Super
He's
loyal. Just like,
adorable.
oh, let me help you, even though you're trying to not help me.
I
Like,
know. She's like, "I might blow you up." He's like,
okay. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I know, it's so funny. I love Clef too. Speaking of
Oh, Clef is my favorite.
AI-esque sentient beings. Oh my gosh, I love Clef so much.
Clef is my favorite character, I think.
He is the best.
Mhm. For sure.
He's
And
so
so
sassy and
interesting.
it's so funny.
Yeah. He he is. It's just like that early scene where he's like, yeah, I could probably open that door, and then he persuades the door to open the wrong way, and it's just like, what?
I love how he's like, "Oh, I can totally do it." And then he does it in like the most obnoxious way. And she's like, "What? Like, you gotta go." He's like, "Yeah, I did it." I was like, "Yeah, you did it, but you woke up the entire town. Like, what are you doing?"
Oh,
Oh,
brilliant. And I just love Clef and Sanchia as a team. Like they complement each other so well.
yeah. And I think that I like them a lot because she's not really using him for his power necessarily. Like she is, and she's like, "This is a great benefit to me." But I also feel like she's taking into account his feelings, even though he's
Mhm.
a literal key, which I
Yeah.
think is just so sweet.
Except for that one time that she just like outs him to the rest of the crew, and
I
then he
know when
makes
he's
this snide remark about like, because it's really important to ask people's permission about things.
I know. I agree. I actually felt very uncomfortable when she did that, and I thought bad things were going to come from it. So it's kind of I was surprised that it went okay, but as soon as
Yeah.
she did, I'm like, no, what are you doing? Like you don't tell big secrets like that.
So funny.
Apparently, she does.
Yeah. This is the thing though, is that like she kind of makes the decisions that need to be made, not necessarily the ones that she would want to make or
Hmm.
the easy options.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also so one thing that was just kind of a I don't know why it kind of hit me so hard is when she got done with her heist, goes back to her little living place, and it's terrible. Like, there's nothing there. It sucks. She feels unsafe literally the entire time. Like, she can't really sleep. I'm just like, this is
Mm.
miserable. You're one of the best thieves in the entire city, and yet you live like this? Like,
Hmm.
what? Is it worth it?
Yeah. Yeah.
which also I
With
think is different.
Yeah, it's a real contrast, I was just about to say, to other stories, because sorry, I keep comparing it to Mistborn, but there are a lot
Yeah.
of similarities there. But
Hmm.
like the main, apart from Vin, the main crew, they kind of, and there's a whole scene that deals with this. They kind of, they're not the elite, but they might as well be,
Yeah, they
because
have
they are
comfort.
such good thieves that exactly they have comfort. Whereas Sanchia, like as you say, she could probably steal. Well, obviously she could steal anything because she manages to steal Clef, and yet, because of all of the difficulties that she has with her powers that would usually make her like the chosen one and all special and whatnot, actually her life is really bad because of that.
Yeah.
She can't be surrounded by nice things because she can't bear to touch anything or interact with people or anything like that.
Well, and even the place she lives, I feel like in almost all stories like this in fantasy, they have a safe house where they go there and they're safe. And
Hmm.
she's not like that. She goes to
No,
her safe house and she still is like, okay, let me wait and watch for 4 hours and then let me only half sleep so that I'm not completely asleep. I'm like,
I think a little bit of that though is her own paranoia as well,
true, but
because of the
obviously,
things that have happened to her.
yeah, it like there's a reason behind it. Like
Hmm.
she's had bad things happen. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
all
Yeah, it's
right.
definitely really interesting the way he plays with her character, and then you get such a this. There's a massive contrast between each of the members of the crew here, I feel like, because Gregor is like completely different from everyone else again.
Yeah.
Gregor's really interesting too.
Gregor, I feel like he is such an interesting character, and at the beginning, he kind of bugged me a little bit because of his, like, pompous attitude all the time. I'm like,
Uptightness, yeah.
"Dude, get off your high horse and just, like, shove you." But he definitely grew on me.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I
Yeah,
really like him.
he's definitely interesting as well.
Yeah. I like that Sanchia goes and saves him, even though he was trying to kill her.
Yeah, she's like, well, I guess I'll have to save you then.
Enemy of my enemy and all that, right?
Exactly, exactly.
No, I agree.
But that's just another example of her making the decision that needs to be made, not the decision she wants to make.
Yeah, she's actually very intelligent and makes
Mm,
quite good decisions, honestly, which I really like because I feel like usually in books, these characters make a bad decision that ends up coming back to bite them, and she doesn't really do that. Like she actually
no.
makes really good decision. I think part of it is like she has those really good survival instincts where she's like, "Ooh,
Mm,
this is necessary."
yeah, yeah, exactly. And plus, she's not like super young either, which is also, I think, uncommon. Even in adult fantasy,
Yeah,
usually
they're
the
like 19.
protagonist is quite young,
Yeah, what is she like 25 or something like that?
something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mid-20s. Yeah, because I
which
agree.
obviously is
Even
still young, but not
it
like
is, but it's
16.
I feel like we're like 6 between 19 and 25, I feel like those 6 years you
Yeah.
age so much more than you do from, like, 30 to 36.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a
Oh yeah, 100%.
crazy difference.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
No, I
Yeah.
feel yeah, on that one.
I also like the
There's, like, literally a
relationship.
spider on its little string right next to my face.
Oh no!
It's going back up, but, whoo!
Oh god, I hate spiders. I would
I
be
don't
freaking
hate
out.
spiders, but, I mean, when you turn your head and it's literally right at your face,
Oh no, I would have run away. I'd
whoo!
have been like, sorry, Stephanie, I'm out.
Ooh, it startled me.
Let me
Okay.
just check now. I'm not trying the same
I feel like now I gotta
situation
keep
here.
watching it. I'm like, "You best go back up."
Oh, there was one. I don't get them very often in my house because it's a new build, so it's insulated really well. But we had one in here last night, and Haruki was chasing it, and I was like, "You better get that thing! I want you to eat that good."
I agree. I mean, I'm actually not scared of spiders, but I feel like spiders are just like jumpy. Like I hate being startled. Or I don't
No,
want
I
them to
just
crawl
can't
on me in
stand
my
them.
sleep.
Oh,
Don't like that.
oh. Ugh.
Anyways, sorry. Side note. Oh my gosh.
We've had your neighbor with their curtains, and now we've had Spidergate.
Weirdest
Like,
thing. They're just like bashing things out the window. Oh god.
oh, what I was going to say is I really like the relationship that develops between Sanchia and Berenice as well, because Berenice is like such a quiet character. She like virtually has no dialogue at all,
Yeah.
and yet they still manage to form this bond.
Yeah. I love them together. I think it's
Yeah.
so cute, so sweet. I think they have both been through a lot, and so they
Mhm.
can kind of s lean on each other
Yeah.
with all of that because even with Berenice, like, yeah, she's been pretty sheltered and spoiled and stuff, but I mean, she was kind of ripped away from her family, and then I'm pretty sure they killed her dad,
Mm.
which, I mean, it doesn't come out and say it, but I think that's what happened, and so now she has no family, and I'm sure everyone treats her not Orso, he doesn't care that she's a girl, he just probably doesn't treat her that great anyways, but everyone else, I'm sure, treats her poorly for being a girl, and it's just yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even growing up with enough food and, like, safety and security, it doesn't mean that she hasn't been through a lot.
Well, exactly. And I think that that's almost like a point that he's trying to make as well, that just like you can grow up on the fortunate side of society and still deal with shit.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like he has done that with almost all of the people on his fortunate side,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, like the main guy from the, um, Candiano
Oh yeah, Tomas.
that went insane.
Oh, him. Yeah, Tribuno.
Tribuno. Candiano, yeah. He went completely crazy.
Yeah.
The daughter, Elise?
Estelle.
Estelle. Gosh, I tell you, I'm the worst at names.
It's
I'm
fine. It's fine. I remember them only because I did that recap, like
oh, yeah,
script and video thing.
for
So
Abby
yeah.
and the video yeah. So Estelle, like, she was born into one of the most privileged positions,
Yeah.
and yet she was married off to a complete jerk and
Oh
not
God.
allowed to ever be a scriber, even though she was better than all of them. And then
Tomas is just
Gregor
the
was like,
worst.
Thomas sucks. Like, I'm so glad he's gone because he was horrible. Like, he's the only one that
Awful.
I feel like is like, you're an actual horrible human being.
Yeah.
You know, like the other ones, like they have some nuance. He has none. Like, he just
No.
sucks.
Just awful. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And then like Gregor, again, born into that, but like he literally has been through wars and he like died and came back. Like he's had so much
Yeah.
to go through, which sucks. And like his mom lost her like her oldest son and her husband, and I don't know. I just feel like a lot of them have been through so much,
Yeah.
even the elites.
Yeah. Ophelia is also very interesting. Gregor's mum,
I
I mean.
actually read the second one.
You've read it. You have. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but we
Okay.
can't use second one spoilers
No.
in this one. So I'm
Yeah.
yeah.
Keep your eyes out for her. That's all I'll say.
Yes. She gets extra interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't see her much
Yeah, like
in
she's
Foundryside. There's like
there.
a few scenes, but
Yeah,
really,
you have a few, and then you have the end particularly where she goes and like pulls him out of the water and brings him back and then
mm-hmm,
sends him on his killing spree and
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She's there's just he does really great character work with all of them. They're all very individual. They're all
Mhm.
very interesting. You know, the heroic characters aren't your stereotypical heroes. The villainous characters aren't your stereotypical villains. It's
Yeah.
all it's all done really, really well, which I like because I'm a character-driven reader, but I think he does well with character and plot.
Yeah. I think so too. I feel like it was really super engaging. I was very invested. I want to see how it goes. But yeah, I really loved all the characters, and I don't really feel like they were just one-dimensional characters in
No,
there for plot, except maybe Tomas. Like he was quite straightforward, which
he
is
was your
fine.
mustache twirling villain for
Which
sure.
is kind of good actually because you're seeing him and you're like, this is our bad guy. And like he
True.
is, but not entirely. Like he's not actually
Mm-hmm.
the big bad,
Yeah.
which
It's
you
the bait
don't
and switch
really.
again.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it did a really good job with the characters having the one that was like, okay, here's your straightforward guy, and then everyone else, we got a lot of nuance in there. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also really like they're not really a part of the crew, but they kind of are. What are their names? Gio
yes,
Giovanni and Claudia, is it?
Claudia, yeah.
I really like
I'm
them
pretty sure
too.
those are the names. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
them too, honestly. But I don't love them. I feel like I didn't love them as much as I was expecting to. Like when she first went to them, I thought I
Hmm.
was going to really, really love them. And I feel like I like them still, but they didn't grow on me as much as most of the other characters.
Yeah. I don't think they're supposed to. I think they are very much relegated to the secondary
Yeah.
character space, but it's kind of nice to have secondary characters that you keep coming back to,
Yeah.
like with Wheel of Time, where you've got a new secondary character every 10 seconds, and like you don't even want to try and remember all of their names. And if they pop up again, you're going to need a reminder of who they are and where they came from. It's nice to just
Yeah.
have, like, okay, we've got a few people that we'll keep coming back to. That's everyone that you need to keep track of. It's good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like there weren't too many characters in this book,
No, no.
which was really
It's
nice.
still a nice multi POV story without being too much.
This one wasn't as much multi POV though. It was like it was, but it wasn't too terribly much. I think we got
No,
like Gregor
we got Gregor and Sanchia
and Sancha. But
and
I
a
mean,
little
even
bit of
Gregor we didn't
Orso.
get as much.
No,
Was Orso in the first one? It totally might have been.
I yeah,
Like
especially
one.
at that scene at the end when he's in like the council place and
Oh
they're
yes, yeah.
handing down judgment, and I was just like,
And it was
yes.
like boom.
Well, I think you need a majority vote, and technically,
Technically, I'm a vote.
yeah. And let me think. I am going to vote against putting me to death. How's that?
I loved it. I was like, Orso, my man. I'm so proud of you.
Brilliant. Yeah, it was so good. So good.
It
I was
was
like,
so good.
oh, that's what they were doing. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely a
Okay.
good time.
We can't really do predictions because I've already read the second one.
We've
You've
both
already read
already
the
read it,
second
yeah.
one, but the second one is good. Do you
Yeah.
want to wrap this one up and then we can like chat about the next one off
Yeah,
camera?
sure.
Okay, awesome. So I think that's about my thoughts on it. I absolutely loved this book. I have actually loved all of Robert Jackson Bennett's books that I've read so far. So this didn't come as a surprise to me, but I definitely it was so good. It was one of the best books I've read this year. It
It's,
was so fun.
yeah,
You
it
know,
is fun.
I was
Not for
so
the
fun and so
characters, but for us.
not for the characters, no. Yeah, like I just felt like I didn't need to put the book down. Like I could have binged the entire thing and it was like I wasn't bored at all.
No,
So,
that's it. Yeah. It's really
okay.
fast paced and easy.
Mhm.
It's even though it's complicated, it's still easy to read
Mhm.
somehow, I
It's
feel
just
like.
very digestible. The way he hands it to
Mm,
you is just like, here you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what you need to know when you need to know it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, thank you everyone who's joined and who's watching back later. And we will see you in the next one for Show or Fall, which is probably going to be in not too long because it was the buddy read for this month, the month of September. And so we'll do it probably sometime in early to mid October to give people time to read it. So bye, everybody.